One of our previous videos, Jeremy had come out and cut a few flowers for bouquets and kind of talked a little bit about why we have these, and mostly it's just to put a smile on my face. I love flowers, but I figured I'd come and show you and talk about what we've got growing in here, because there's so much in here. It's hard to take it all in when you're trying to talk about other things and what you use them for. So I figured this would just solely be an introduction to what we have created in this small amount of space. So the space originally was a dirt pile. We had a lot of dirt brought in because we had a lot of holes to fill. We wanted to build the berm up where the blackberries are, and we just had a pile of dirt for about a year until we used it all. And then it just left this bare spot, like just nothing. Weeds were growing up and around it, and it was just awful to mow because you had to get up onto it because it's kind of slanted around the edges. And it was just an eyesore there for a little bit until the grass started growing. So one day we just decided, hey, let's put a flower bed in. This gets full sun late afternoon, and it's something that we can enjoy. It's close to the road, so then of course it gives other people a chance to see what we've got going on in the yard. And I don't know, it just adds a splash of color to the homestead, and so we're super excited. So I had started these sunflowers from seed. Now I thought this was a smaller package of sunflowers. We were thinking they were going to be fall colors. They were just the package of seeds that I had. I thought they would be miniature in size. Now there are some short ones in here. However, there are some big ones. And these things, I'd say about almost 7.5 feet tall, pretty tall. We're super excited to have these sunflowers. Now these are gonna bring in the birds. The chickens are gonna love the seeds. I love sunflowers, they're gorgeous. Plus they give a lot of shade underneath them. I've got some lavender growing. Now lavender it's taken a while to get the lavender portion down because they're very hard to start from seed. And I've tried several times. I got some going. Cat knocked the pot off of the porch. Didn't make it. So this time we ended up buying plants already started. And I've got 2 of them. They're beautiful. Right now they're looking a little ragged just because they need a little bit more water. And they're not quite big enough for me to share yet. So I'm keeping that one a secret. But right here, I started some zinnias from seed. We had purchased some packages for heirloom seeds that are native to our area, and zinnias were in there. There was 2 different types. There was these gigantuan ones that are bigger than my hand, and then they had a smaller variety, which I'll show you in just a moment. But these things are just gorgeous. I think of the movie Alice in Wonderland when she's walking through the flowers and they're singing to her, and you get these giant zinnias or the dandelions, and they look like lions. Like this looks like a tiger. I mean, you just look at it and the color is just striking. So pretty. But in this pot, I've got some Dusty Miller. This was bought at the local Master Gardener sale this year. I got 2 of these. Not sure, I haven't done a lot of research on these, but they're beautiful. I love that color. They look like you could just wipe the dust off, but it's the leaf color. There's no dust on it. It's beautiful. And all around it is Sweet Williams. They're gonna have these bright pink flowers with white middle. It's just gorgeous. I'm ready for them to bloom. I've been waiting all summer and spring, and they haven't bloomed yet. I haven't got one bloom, but they're going to. I think they're more of a cooler plant, so they're very happy in this pot. The Dusty Miller's doing well. Right below it is, I think this is what they call prairie grass, but it gets these long stalks of bright magenta pink flowers. And so I've got about 8 of these in here, tucked in different areas. There's some over there. I don't know if you can see, but we'll go over there. Then I've got, I'm telling you, I'm just so overwhelmed every time I get in here. There's just always something to see, something to pull up, something to look at. So that prairie grass is something that I'm really excited about just because it's a perennial. It'll come back every year and it'll bush out and get a little bit thicker. So as some of these annuals that I had started from seed start dying off and I pull them up, I will still have flowering bushes in here. And they'll be able to add some color even in the fall when their leaves turn yellow, like the salvia. this is one of my salvias, right? So this thing is gorgeous. It just started blooming. I have a smaller one that bloomed first. It's not growing as fast as this one, but the color's just remarkable. And I don't know if you can see on this bachelor's button, here is a tiny little bee. Focus. Tiny. So yes, here's my chaos of bachelor's button. I had to tie these up just because they were falling over. They were all on the ground, and I didn't want to have any spread and root, because eventually we're going to put some stepping stones in here and have a path, and it's crowded right now just because everything's blooming. I didn't think it was all going to take off the way it did. So over here we've got some marigolds. There's those striking yellow, I mean, that is the color marigold right there. That is, if you look in a crayon box, pull out the marigold, that's the color you see. Beautiful. And it's tall. It's so tall. I've been saving the heads. Eventually we're going to start collecting our own seeds for the flowers, so I don't have to buy those native heirloom packets every year. I will have my own that I've saved out of my yard from the mother plant to be able to transplant into the ground and create a whole nother generation of them. So I'm super excited about that. And this marigold, I think this was called, start with an S, Starcaster, I don't remember. Beautiful marigold. And then these are the other zinnias that I started from seed. And this thing has just taken off. There were 2 or 3 little plants that came up, and it has just expanded, and the colors keep getting brighter and brighter and brighter. I mean, we've got this beautiful orange, beautiful pinks. You've got some magentas. Up. I apologize for the pause, folks. We had a hummingbird grace us with its presence. All right. So let's go over here. I'd like to show you a little bit about these. These I was worried about. These are asters. This is my first time starting asters. I have never seen an aster in real life. I've seen pictures. They're beautiful. They supposedly get these giant heads that look like this starburst of color. And this is loaded with blooms. I started this from seed, folks. Like, did not know this was going to happen, and they struggled for a while. I thought they were getting too much sun. It was too dry. The rain started coming in. We watered every morning on the days it hasn't rained, and this thing is just taking off. And then we've talked about these guys. These basil plants need to come out. We are getting ready to pull a lot of it out, and then we're going to let it go to seed, just so we'll have the flowers for the bees. But they've just done so great, and they're so fragrant, and the leaves are massive. It's just beautiful plants. Here's some more of the prairie grass. These are blue stargazers. They'll get the long stocky blue flowers. Haven't seen flower yet. It's still growing, so I thought they would bush out, but they're tall and lanky. So, and then of course we've got our little fairy garden set up, and beautiful butterfly bath, so the butterflies can come take a drink. The bees sometimes will land in there too on the rocks and just get them a sip. So we try to keep it filled up every day. And then I've got oregano in between the prairie grass and the butterfly feeder. And it's been a project. It's been something that we wanted to add a little whimsy to the yard. And sometimes Jeremy will come out and holler for me, and he'll say, "Where are you at? I can't see you." And I'm like, "I'm in here weeding." And I'm usually in this flower bed. And because the flowers have just completely taken over, you can't see me. I love it. This is one of my happy places. We've got goals, and these things that are happening in our yard these days are just amazing. We're super excited. We've had a really good growing season. Everything's doing fantastic. The crepe myrtles are in bloom. You can hear the cicadas. You come out every day and there's something new to see, and it's just such a blessing to have all of this. It's hard work. There's days whenever you feel like giving up just because you don't know if anything's going to grow. Sometimes things don't grow, but that's the best part of it, is knowing that this is all trial and error. This is all something you're creating and you find what works, you see what doesn't work, and you just kind of build on that. And so that's something, that's the part that fulfills your need for being self-sufficient the most, I think. I think that's the part that I'm truly grateful for, is the fact that we have learned how to do things from trial and error. We've seen what has happened in the past and where we went wrong. Then we said, well, let's tweak it this way. Let's try this and see if this works. And if it works, then awesome. Let's do it again the next year and see if it still works. And then you just kind of build on that. You can keep a journal of your homesteading journey. You can put dates in. You can collect your seeds. You can just try different things. And we're super excited to be able to do that and share with everyone else our journey and how you don't have to be perfect. Martha Stewart doesn't live here, although Martha Stewart, I think, would have a blast. But it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be immaculate. It just has to fit what you're wanting, fit your need, fit your aesthetic, and just put a smile on your face. That's what it's all about, is putting a smile on your face and showing others that even with a small amount of space, you can do a lot of things. If I wanted to, I could grow veggies in this flower bed right next to my natural herbs like the salvia and the oregano and the sage and the rosemary and the basil. This could be just strictly herb garden. Put some thyme, lemon balm. I have a lot of that in different pots in the yard, and I haven't really had a designated area, and so I thought about turning this into that. And then, periodically planting flowers in it to bring in the pollinators, because who doesn't like a splash of color? I mean, I'm kind of biased, but this is amazing. So we want to say thank you for joining us today on Common Sense Homestead and listening to my rant about what I like to do in the yard. Of course, I help with the veggies, but flowers has just kind of been my thing ever since I was little, and I made that dream come true this year. And along with Jeremy's help and his ideas of where to place things and how to make it continue to grow, because we learned a lot together, and that's the glory of it. So if you like our video, subscribe, hit that like button. Tiny little click for you, giant leap for us. We've truly enjoyed you being with us today, and hope you have a good day. And thank you for joining Common Sense Homestead.